Are we on?
No, you're gonna have to give me a couple of minutes.
It's fine. George,
Just
you
start the
take your
timer.
time.
Start the timer.
It's not a job anymore.
You have 3.5 minutes until it goes live, or until you have to worry about it going live. Like, it's live on YouTube now, and it's live on Facebook, but nobody's gonna be watching yet.
Okay.
Then got time for a little nappy before this.
Yeah,
Sure.
man.
I think I'm gonna pull my Facebook up just in case people have questions.
I'm
I'm
using
probably
my
just gonna ignore them.
I'm using my phone. There's no lag in my sound or anything. I don't have earbuds in.
Nah, you're good.
No?
Yeah, I think I'm talking over people, but that's a habit I have anyways, which George will tell everyone. So
It is a habit.
it is a habit. I'll try to not be. I wasn't even planning on talking that much, and then everybody canceled.
I can
All right, I'm
mute
gonna get
you, though.
started.
It's fun. I can just.
I'm gonna get started. Welcome to the first modcast of 2023. We are many mods short because someone put a hole in their face. Someone is sitting on peas. Someone had to work, and the rest of us just felt sorry for you. So we're still here. Not really sure everything we're going to talk about, but we will do our best to answer questions and have fun. All right. So what we can talk about first? Jim, you're up. Go.
Really? Hi, everybody. I'm Jimmy. A lot of people don't know me.
I have no idea who you are.
I met you once. You were a stranger in a bar. I think I met you, and
Okay.
you showed me a book, and that was signed. It was very important, and we left the bar and we left it in the.
Jim, you don't know how many
in the-
bars I've left with men. I've left with men. I don't know.
But yeah, no, been doing this. It's kind of we're just kind of trying to introduce some of the mods that we've been behind the scenes. We're not really doing. You don't see us in all the podcasts and stuff. So yeah, I'm Jim Keeney. I'm a contractor upstate New York. Been working on this really basically since the beginning of with EU, but I actually knew what it was as a kid. And I actually knew who Palancar was as an artist. And then when I saw the EU, I was just got hooked, and here I am 5-6 years later, whatever it is. Yeah, no, that's basically it. And basically behind the scenes, working, trying to keep things going smoothly.
And this is your first time officially joining us at the start, which has me very happy because for those of you that don't know me, I'm Carlene, and Jim and I work on the New York puzzle together. I do not live in New York. I live in Ohio, where it is effing cold all the effing time. Tonight is no exception. And I am the moderator, or one of the moderators, on the New York page and on some of the other pages when I'm needed, but mostly on the New York page. And I got into this because I wanted my dad to start treasure hunting with me. And we were researching Revolutionary War treasure in Ohio. And somehow I came across this back in 2017, maybe. And then the rest is history. But welcome, new people. And everybody knows George.
Hi, I'm George. I'm not a mod. Don't know why.
Yeah, you're nobody now.
I'm nobody.
You're nobody.
Just a dude. I really enjoy just being a dude. It's a lot of fun.
So much better to be just a dude. So Brody might be joining us, right? And Brody is a moderator on which page?
All of them?
We're all kind of mods on all pages.
Yeah, Brody's on all of them. I forget which one. He's always been the
you guys are the mods. You're supposed to be keeping up with this shit.
I know. We're just talking about it
this
too.
This is not my job anymore.
This is not my job.
If Brody was there, he'd tell us.
Brody is in New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Gabby, Sambodi has spent a lot of time on New Orleans.
Sambodi?
That's how you say your last name.
It's Sandbooth.
Oh, I don't think so.
Sambodi?
I think it's
There's not a D.
No, it's the TH.
Sandbooth. Sambodi?
Gabby, text me right now. I need phonetic pronunciation of your last name.
I thought it was Sandbooth.
I'm really bad with last names, but there's no Bodie.
If I'm right, you're buying me a drink. That's it.
I only buy drinks for men. in bars. I'm
That's
sorry.
bullshit. You bought me drinks before. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Ashley is Toronto, correct? More into Toronto.
New Orleans. You guys are mods?
Hey, I'm in New York, man. That's it.
Toronto?
I'm just a New York bitch. I don't know anything else. All right, I'm just gonna stop. If they want to talk, they can come on.
Ashley's in New Orleans as well.
Ashley's in New York. Oh wait, but you don't know because you're just a dude buying drinks for dudes.
I know,
She's
but
bought
he's
me
been
a
doing
drink.
all this stuff for a lot of years, and these guys call them all the time on stuff. So he knows.
All right, Cole is in Toronto.
Cole is not in Toronto.
He lives
Cole
in
is in
Toronto.
Red Deer, which is many hours from Toronto.
Yes,
Oh,
he's
is it really? I
like
thought he was
17
living in Toronto.
He's like 17 hours or something from
Do
Toronto.
you
Shut up, you guys.
do you know where you live, Carly?
Honestly, probably not. I know it's Ohio because it's dark and cold. I know it's Ohio. All right. So apparently I'm not going to be talking about that.
Toronto. Everybody,
right.
today everyone lives in Toronto.
Well, I mean, it's an alternate city, right? Oh, that's a good segue to our little section about alternate cities. I'll turn that over to you two.
This
Alternate
conversation
cities.
just got a lot less fun.
Sorry. When you're
Yeah,
not making fun of
um,
Carlene, it's always less fun.
Yeah, alternate cities. You know, it's always been like a little touchy subject for people. We've been accused of being not nice about it and stuff. And you can have an alternate city; it's no problem. You just have some proof to back it up, not a picture, and say you're all wrong without talking about things. And it absolutely is supported. I always thought it was supported. It's just that you know you have to be prepared to. You have to be prepared and have your research done when you do it. So when people do say things, and I'm not saying mods and administrators that come down on these guys. There's people that just come down hard on, oh my God, how do you explain the longitude and latitude? How do you explain this? How do you explain that? So, but yeah, if you're gonna do it, just do it with research.
Just back
and
it up.
stuff.
Facts.
Yeah, and again, if you're unhappy with a page, there's plenty of other pages to go on. I'm on all the pages. George, you breathing hard?
Nah, I'm just, I'm not a mod anymore, so I don't have to have mod opinions. I don't have to play nice. I can just have George opinions.
You can.
Okay,
you can.
so he's gonna violate the don't be an ass rule.
And you can.
Oh yeah, 100%, totally.
And George, you can. And
You
it's
guys
the
are gonna
same
be
thing.
like, George shouldn't have been here.
But it's a perfect point where if you disagree, it's okay. But they talk it out, and if you can't talk it out,
Is it really okay though? Is it really okay that you have a puzzle with paintings that have latitude and longitude coordinates, or cities like spelled out with images in the painting? Then you have the painter of the paintings who comes and says they're all correct. Like, if you don't believe that shit, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here. Like, if you're still like it's in Denver, it's in Denver, Colorado. I don't know. You're really bad at puzzles. Like, you should get like a jigsaw puzzle. That maybe that's the kind of puzzle person you are.
But here's the point. You wouldn't know any of that information by buying that book, which is part of the original.
Oh, that's
puzzle.
bullshit, dude. We knew that information for years. That's bullshit. Just because people can't put two and two together, that it's not my problem.
Okay, before the internet and everybody knew that some puzzles were solved and they can cross stuff off the list. They actually did not know.
We worked it out. And then found out we were right, and whoop-de-doo. Like, the thing is,
we have that available now, is what you're saying. Like, now we have that, right?
Yeah, now we have it. But back then, you wouldn't. You would go from puzzle to puzzle, and you would still be stuck with each
so what's the point of going back? What's the point of going back, right? Like, now you have that available. Now you have confirmation of cities. You've got that available. What's the point of going back? Just because you can't figure out the end of the puzzle doesn't mean you should throw the whole damn thing away and be like, I'm going to go to Tijuana. Like,
well, because obviously there's things that we're all missing, but
no, there's not. There's not things you're
I
missing.
don't mean it like that. I just mean things like we're missing a cask in our hand.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, but that's because
the thing
people
we're
don't.
missing.
That's because people don't dig. Like, I've been on hundreds of digs with people, and they put a shovel in the ground 3 inches, say it's a 2-foot hole, and then they go like buy a beer. That's what they do. Like, the fun of the puzzle is it's fun, right? It's not necessarily fun in a cask. And if that's what you're in for, then sweet. That, great. You're gonna get all the fun you want. But just because you can't figure out the end doesn't mean you have to go back to the beginning and be like, let's start looking in Brazil. Like, and I use places like Brazil and Tijuana, and it sounds absurd, but when people are like, it's in Denver, it sounds the same to me. Like, it's just.
Oh, I know.
Right.
It's
right,
crazy.
I mean, I like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, we had.
Rob's like, I love the drama. Rob, I'm not a mod. I don't have to. I'm just here for my opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop it. I'm going to like mute you for a week.
We're just talking.
Anyway.
I'm not even a member of the
I
group. How are you going to mute me?
I had a person come on. It was a newer person. This was a couple of years ago. And they asked a question. And I said, well, I used the search bar and I got the link for them. And I put it in the post. I said, here's where you'll find that information. And she said something like, well, I don't have time to go through and read all this stuff. And I said, I don't mean any disrespect, but what does that say about you as a treasure hunter if you don't have time to research? Like, that's
I mean, like, I get some people aren't in, like, there's a lot of obsessed people with this hunt, and not everybody's obsessed, and that's great. People should be less obsessed with the hunt. And I see the fun in coming in and being like,
or like, these old people don't know what they're
I
doing.
see the fun. I see the fun in coming in and finding one of these and being like, shit, man, that looks like Arkansas. Oh, I bet I could put some shit together for Arkansas, and then being like, oh my god, guys, I had so much fun looking at this and thinking it's in Arkansas and putting together a solve for Arkansas, and now I'm gonna go back to my life. Like, I get that, I can see the fun in that. It shouldn't affect everybody else. You
can post it 50 times.
But George, isn't that the whole idea of the whole book, to actually do that?
No.
Where you might see something and research it, and when you see that, eventually you find out it's wrong, and you continue and change to the next point where it could be something else.
Maybe, but if you have a problem that has 20 steps, once you get to step 15, why the hell would you go back to step 2? What's the point? Who knows?
Well,
that's my non-mod opinion.
We appreciate that non-mod opinion. I think in terms of alternate verse pairings.
Oh, that's fine. Fuck, do that all day long.
Yes, and like I say to everybody that messages me about that, I support you, but you're not. It's not going to be a celebrated victory until we find one that's wrong. Because once you find that one that's wrong, that changes the rest of them, right? And so then we've got work to do, or it changes a few.
Yeah.
So, to those people, I say find your people, because once you find your people, that's what this is about, right? Like, I was talking to the guys before this whole like modcast thing about like certain people on the hunt. I actually want them to find this more than I want me to find this. And I've been in New York 10 times in like 4 or 5 years, which is kind of crazy. But I know when I get there, I'm going to have Nick Canick digging a hole quicker than anybody I've ever known. And Carolyn Ewan is going to like show up with her Snapple, and we are going to have the best party ever, right? Like, I know I can meet Adrian anytime I want to. Like, it's so fun. Well, it's not really Snapple.
That's vodka, you know that, right?
It's in a Snapple bottle. And that's really what this is about. I mean, yes,
we're not promoting public drinking.
I am 100% promoting public drinking.
And illegal digging.
It's all good. It's all fine. Like, how many shovels I've left in Airbnbs because I can't take them on plane. Like, it's crazy.
Going back to what you were saying before, right? It's people who are not. The problem is a lot of people come into something like this and don't have the desire to learn anything about it, and they don't realize that once you change something, like once you move a verse around, Yeah, you move one verse to another city, that means one of the other verses is wrong, whatever. But it also changes the entire structure of the fucking puzzle. It like, once things start moving around, with the exception of Montreal and Milwaukee, there's a pretty strong argument for swapping those two around. With the exception of that, you change the entire structure of the puzzle, and you're fighting against like hardcore, just bare bone facts that you can't argue against. So I don't know. That's the problem. People jump in, they don't understand what's actually going on with the puzzle. They see this pretty picture and they're like, "Oh, I can find a ladder or a bird in it or whatever." And there's a ladder and bird in my backyard, and now I dig a hole.
And George, they can say the same thing about what you just said was the hardcore facts. They can say the same thing about what those hardcore facts are too. That it could be this. They can be ambiguous. That.
Rob said you should change. Rob said you should change the group name to Accepted Cities Secret Page, but I should let everybody know I'm not in this group. I'm not a mod. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm just a guest. This is what it's like to be a guest on Sunday Funny.
You're a pretty loquacious guest. Anyway, so since we all are going with the Accepted Cities, which one do you guys think is the hardest puzzle, or the hardest one that you've worked on?
They're all hard. You haven't found any of them. They're all hard. Yeah. Oh no. Which one did you find? They're all hard. Like, I don't think I
found things. I think when I look at them, I feel like, if I look at a puzzle like what we were just talking about, yes, that's accepted, that's accepted, that's accepted. Here, this seems a little weird. I think we need to do more research on this little thing. But like, some of them, I'm like, when we were talking about the bookends with San Francisco and New York, I think there's a lot of shit between the two of those that we have not connected the dots with. Just in terms of bookends. Just in terms of the bookends idea.
Okay.
But that's information that came from interviews and stuff like
that. Came to light way later.
And even though we can use these things, it's not part of the original puzzle.
You can't use the bookends thing. You can't use it because you don't know what the hell it means. Like, everybody takes this stuff, like the gift giver stuff or the stuff that John says in interviews or whatever.
It's not part of the original puzzle.
Well, it can be part of the original puzzle, and it can be correct. But if he throws out a fact at you, or if he throws out some information at you, it's probably correct information. But if you don't know how to apply it, like if you don't take that and you don't go, how the hell am I supposed to know about bookends? Right? Let me look in this book and try to figure out something about bookends, or how would that apply? Or like, if you just go with the information bookends, you've got nowhere to start.
No. But I do think that to me, okay, my opinion, to me that implies there's similarities, whatever that might be. So, for example, I know one of the things that Gabby wanted to talk about was Terry's find about the sleeve being the hand that holds the torch for the New York, for the Statue of Liberty. And I love that, but is that what it is? Is that, we don't know. We have no idea if that's what it is or not. And if that was the thing, then does that imply that there's something in the sleeve of the New York dress that implies something in San Francisco, right? Like, I mean, like, I don't know. But like, that's a lot of people talking behind the scenes about the bookends idea.
I mean, I'm not going to deep dive into it, but in that case, that scenario where there are people that say they can see a hand grabbing a torch in the Rosalki SOL's dress, which would make sense. But it's just like, but what if it's not? And it's just, us looking in the clouds, and seeing what we want to see. And
but I mean, I don't begrudge anybody for wanting to look deeper, but here's the thing, like, me saying that is not me publicly getting on the page and posting a ton of shit, right? And saying it is gospel. That's me doing research with some other people. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Hi, Brody.
Oh, absolutely. Brody,
so Brody, hey, we're talking about what we think is the hardest puzzle, because aren't you the one that like mentioned that? I think you brought that up in our convo.
Yeah, I think it's New York, personally.
Hey, Brody.
What's up? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so like, I think it's New York. I think probably the hardest aspect of all of the puzzles. I still haven't solved the bubbles. I've been working on those bubbles for about 2 years. And still haven't figured it out. So but I'm gonna keep at it. You know, I have a spot in New York I like, but I'm not really too I'm not really deep into New York as I am New Orleans.
Right.
You got a comment?
I have to agree with Brody though. I think too. I mean, they're all hard. New York is just so ambiguous. It could be, you could just read into it. There's not one thing in that verse. We can say things that are solid, and some people say factual, but it could mean anything.
Right.
Every single line in there.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What's the comment that we have?
Which puzzles do you think are still out there? I mean, all the puzzles are still out there. I'm assuming they mean which
like
casts
which cast,
still
like
out there.
not,
Even if it got destroyed, the puzzle's still out there. Somebody's going to keep working on it. A cast could have got destroyed and moved, and somebody's going to be still working on it.
I mean, all of them are
and I
still
still
out
think
there.
it might find something, right? Like something would have to be there. I mean, 3 feet down, that's kind of far.
Yeah.
The whole this cask was destroyed or something was moved is generally, like, for me, just a cop out from people, because these things are buried, you know, in
a road is not going to go that deep.
In a perfect world, they're buried a couple of feet, right? Construction's not generally going to happen that deep. They're probably all still out there. If any's not out there, like, probably New York's had the most construction, because everything under New York's constantly under construction.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, shit could get put on top of them, but that doesn't mean they're not still there.
And
even if they are, that doesn't mean you can't solve the puzzle.
Right. But the thing with New York is, everything they do is documented. You can go to a museum and figure out exactly what happened at a point. You can have a aerial picture taken of every year. I mean, New York has really documented what has happened. And I remember, I think it was, I don't know, I sent somebody to the New York Museum just thinking, I'm like, okay, can you find this stuff out? He goes, hey, sure enough, there's a map room in New York, in Manhattan's library. And he deep dove and found more stuff. I couldn't believe what he found. But that's the documentation that happened there for a reason, though. Over the years, that's just the way it is. It's just that type of city, you know.
But most cities are like that too, especially these cities. Like St. Augustine, you're not going to do construction without some sort of archaeological survey.
And you're going to find all kinds of history of exactly what happened, water lines, power lines. You could find everything if need be.
I like my favorite example of just how dumb that argument is. The argument that things could get moved is the wiki, right? The wiki, at least the last time I looked, and it's been like a year, I don't know, was saying that the Charleston cask was buried at the capstan in White Point Gardens, and when the capstan was removed, they destroyed the cask. But what they failed to mention to you was when all that construction was going on, there was an archaeologist on site. There's an article about that, a newspaper article about this on 12 Treasures. There was an archaeologist on site who documented every single thing that they pulled up from that hole. Like, she counted shells.
Yeah.
Seashells. Like, they pulled up a tiny bit of old pottery, a tiny bit of glass, a couple of beads, some marbles, and that was it. You know? But the wiki's still like, we're right, and it was right here, and now it's gone.
Well, that site, I think, has always seemed to be like the opinion of just a few people, not like the whole group.
Well, it's not really a few people. It's like, it's one dude.
One guy. It's one guy.
Well, I was going to say that, but I was trying to be kind. So anyway, one dude.
With like that site, and I know when I first started The Secret, that was the first website that I came across, you know, when I was doing any type of research on it. And it's, oh, well, you know, the casket's here, but now it's gone. In Boston, oh, well, you know, we think that it's here, but, you know, it's probably gone. New Orleans. So it kind of discouraged me from wanting to continue on with the puzzle, right? So like, that's why I still want people to like find their own spot and not take that information that's out there as, just like you said, as gospel. Like, this is the final, that it's gone.
Sure. I mean, if they built a road, I mean, you're not going to get permission to get a jackhammer. Okay, that's not going to happen.
But can you think of a place where any of these have been supposedly buried, where there's been a new road that just, like, can you think of a park where they're like, I'm just going to build a road right through the middle of White
Now,
Pearl
I can
Gardens.
think of one or two, but I'm probably in the wrong
we
place.
hope Byron thought about that when he actually did it, but
I
we
would
also
think.
didn't think there would be one underneath in a baseball field, you know.
Right? It's crazy.
So, but we hope he did that thinking, and he had to. He had to pick spots that he didn't think would be disturbed.
I mean, you guys are totally leaving out an option here, and that's that he didn't give a shit. Right? He picked a place for his puzzle, and he didn't give a shit. He put it where he wanted to put it.
I don't believe that, George.
Like,
there's so much that went into this. Come on.
Really, dude? Put it in a ball field. A ball field under home plate.
I haven't given a shit, but I mean, my God, my level of not giving a shit is like, I mean, like, I can't even imagine if like doing all the stuff that he did for this puzzle, like if that's like him not giving a shit, please, I want to like, not give a shit to that level.
What did he do? What do you mean?
I mean, as carefully crafted as some of these words are, and I mean,
how carefully crafted was the Cleveland puzzle? It was like, find a spot, dig this hole. How carefully crafted was Chicago? Find a spot, dig the hole. How carefully crafted was Boston? He put it in a ball field.
Okay, this is the part where you're being an ass, George.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. We have a lot of ideas about this that aren't really founded in any factual information. Like people,
I'm not saying the guy was like on fire. Come on.
I mean, people love to say, like, he just wanted us to learn about history, and he just wanted us to travel, and he just wanted us to have fun, and he just wanted to sell a book.
Right.
Right?
That I agree.
We do this puzzle based on these assumptions that we're making that have no basis in reality.
Well, the basis would be, as soon as you start reading the book, though, it starts right out by him talking about the Russian guys in the beginning and stuff. That there's thought into that.
I mean, the oppression angle for this book is very.
And then it continues right into the Indians and what man has done to the environment and basically creating, you know, how his mythical creatures that he created interacted with us. So there's quite a bit of thought into it. I still think we're freaking missing some vital thing. I think
in some ways it's easier than we're making it.
Yeah.
You know, and, like and I mean, we were talking about that.
Well, here's an example. How much, George?
Yeah.
How much? Not without giving out answers. How much thought did you put into your puzzle and verse? I mean,
the anniversary hunt, you mean?
Once you come up with an idea, and you write verses, and you bury it, and you throw a painting together, there isn't an incredible amount of thought in it. Correct? I mean, you can write a verse.
I put a lot of thought into the end of the anniversary hunt because I knew how much trouble searchers from The Secret have had, but also how much trouble searchers from The Secret have caused. Mm-hmm. The sort of the area for the treasure for the anniversary hunt has been around. It's been a thrown around location for a treasure that either I or a couple of my friends would have buried for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had plenty of time to think about it. But the end location, like, there was a lot of thought put into that. But I'm also going off of the experience from a past hunt, which Byron didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Now Sunday had just done the when you judged the verses from people. I actually kind of like that because it showed how people are actually thinking and seeing these puzzles.
That was fun.
There were some clever things guys did there, but also we made mistakes. It wasn't well thought out. Even me, I did one. One of mine was in there, but it was clever as hell. But there wasn't when you looked at it later, I'm like, wow. When they explained it to you, boy, it made sense. But trying to figure it out, boy, it was kind of rough. And hopefully Byron did that better than us.
Puzzle, even
Simon, I agree with Simon. Just saying, Simon.
You have to
You
say
haven't
what you're
felt before
agreeing
it.
with. We have no idea.
Nothing. You don't need to know. Just continue.
All right. What was I gonna say? I forget now, Jim. Oh, yeah. Writing a puzzle like is
Right. Yeah.
writing a puzzle. Even those little snippets that they were doing is you can't. You have to be conscious of the fact that as soon as you release those words, they're already really cryptic, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Even if you don't make them cryptic, they're already really cryptic.
Because they're your words and they're your thoughts going into those words, and you don't know how other people are going to interpret any of that.
Exactly.
Right. But the guy writing it is supposed to know how somebody else is going to interpret it.
Yeah, but how
Clearly
can you
That's the whole idea of it, or how they can decipher it. That's the whole idea, right?
Like I look at the anniversary hunt and I know how someone could decipher it, but I could have never imagined people interpreting it the way that, like, there are people all over the country looking for the anniversary hunt, you know, and I could never have, I could have never imagined. They're going into some weird stuff that I have no idea how they're coming up with it, but it's creative.
But and we also do it with the Secret. I'm just trying to compare what
absolutely.
you did.
That's why we don't have casks.
That's why you've still got people who are trying to like find some deeper meaning to the words "feel at home." Like it just makes sense. You just do it, but people want a deeper meaning. They want that puzzle to be a lot harder than it is. That's what held everybody back for so long. We all thought it was a cryptic puzzle, and it isn't.
Yeah.
Somebody said I sound like Jerry Springer. I'm sorry, I have a cold.
Jerry Springer.
Also, I don't know anything about Jerry Springer. We should have a fight. Don't they have
He's
fights?
from Cincinnati.
Oh yeah.
You want to have a fight?
Yeah, and can we get, like, does he have strippers too? Can we get strippers? Can we get strippers on a modcast?
George, why do you always want to fight with me? You keep saying the next time
I'm
I'm
not
on.
necessarily wanting to fight with you. I don't want to fight with Brody because he is big.
Brody could kill anyone. Yeah, he's huge. He's a huge dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have a whole list of things here that we were supposed to talk about.
Really? He got me on a tangent with strippers now. So, give me a minute. Okay.
You have the power
I
to
feel like we
avoid
could get the
responding.
Hey, Mardi Gras right around the corner. Y'all come on down to New Orleans. We can recruit some.
Do you know what one about the anniversary hunt, something I never could have envisioned? People think my hats are a message. Like every time I'm on any kind of stream, people think my hats are a message. So I chose this hat specifically for everybody. Only Brody knows
well,
the meaning
the
behind
fact
this
that you
hat.
said that brings me to a question that I hadn't thought about, but I will ask it now. So,
Like,
when you do the live streams with Palancar, and he is giving hints and has those cryptic things like drawn on his hands or whatever, do you believe that all of the things, and this is a question for everybody, do we believe that the things he's telling us are actual hints, or is he trying to mislead you?
Neither. He's just fucking with you.
He's not just fucking with me. He could have mentioned any of the fairies in that book, and he didn't. He only mentioned a few.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now. You were talking about stuff on his hand, and then you went about fairies in the book.
I said the things that he said and the things that he's drawn in his hand.
I don't know. I'm gonna need.
Oh my
some
god!
examples.
Do I have to put my teacher voice on? Jesus Christ!
I think he could be. Most probably is screwing with us, but down the road, there's probably like one little thing in there, just like the word Boston written. That, sorry, it's ridiculous, but he did put it there. It could get pointed out later. Look, guys, it was right there, and you didn't see it, and it would be impossible. Just forget it. It's not part of the original puzzle, and move on. Now, is it fun as hell? Is it fun to talk about and stuff? Absolutely, but it's still not what the original thing was supposed to be about.
I mean, I feel like a lot of this, like the stuff that he says, and you're right, it's not part of the original puzzle. You probably shouldn't pay much attention to it. But I think a lot of it is like when they were making it, they didn't realize how not difficult, but how like obscure and how
ambiguous.
How ambiguous it was.
Yeah.
So he's trying to help people get back on track in some small way, right? But I think that instead of like on Expedition Unknown, where he was talking about the forest and the trees. Instead of seeing the bigger picture, people are focusing on the trees, right? Like that. I wasn't around for it, but there was like a gift giver post about a pea, right? Like a pea and a spoon.
Yeah, pea and a spoon. Yeah.
So that got sent to me, and I think what you can apply what I was saying to that as well. I think what gift giver was trying to say was like, look at these paintings differently. Like what is the purpose and meaning and mechanics and yada 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 behind these things, instead of just being like, the spoon looks like a road, you know?
Okay.
People are missing that.
Yeah.
People are missing the bigger picture, and I think, like John in his interviews especially, he's just trying to get people to see the bigger picture.
Well, but do you think that's because, and I'm just now, of course, I'm saying this because I'm an artist, but like, do you think that other people, including me, look at some of those things in those ways? Because if I were to draw a puzzle and put a spoon in with the pea, this is what I would mean. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, if I was going to make a line this weird, it would have to be a map. I mean, I think sometimes that's how people look at things. I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong.
I agree.
That's what happens.
I agree, but like, people aren't as creative as they think they are, you know? And people aren't. I don't mean that to be insulting. It's just true. Like, John is a creative dude who knows how to get. He's trained in using art to get an idea across in a very specific way. And most people aren't. So most people would approach, like, if I'm going to make a treasure map, I would just draw a spoon that looks like the road.
Right. So
but John's not like that. You know?
Right. But I think part of what's nice about interviewing him and talking to him and looking at his other art is knowing who he is and then being able to apply that knowledge to what's already been done.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a new tool we have that no one had back in 1982. No one was talking to him.
Well, nobody even knew who he was.
Right.
Right. You know, he's fresh out of college. You know, but just a few short years later, he was doing covers for books and stuff. It was only a few years later. I mean, he was actually working, but you actually saw him. You would see John Jude Palancar as the artist of a book cover. Not even famous books.
John was doing.
But you saw him in a bookstore. Yeah. And I went to Syracuse University, and I remember they were talking about I was taking an art class on symbiology, but it was Caravaggio and a bunch of other stuff. But then my teacher had brought in other books, and one of them was John Jude Palancar. It was a guy sitting in a chair with an eagle behind his head or something, and all he was talking about is conveying some symbology through your painting. And I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. He wrote that book my friend was trying to solve in like 1986.
All our weird stoner friends in college, like, you know.
You know how all the people do like deep dives into John's art? There's something I would love to see. While he was in college, he worked for American Greetings, and he made greeting cards.
Yeah.
I would love to see some of those.
I could probably get those for you.
Actually, hey George,
like
this
the
is funny.
archivist at American Greetings can't find those. I would love.
Oh well, because like I have family that works for American Greetings in Cleveland, so I could probably find them.
But it was funny as hell. Somebody had posted where John Jude Palancar had the books we had in
like the Mead folder.
The Mead ones, and he drew the lion. I had that. As a kid, I had that and had no idea who John Jude Palancar was.
The person who found that on eBay bought it for like $80. And John was like, because I sent John a picture of it when that thing came out, and I was like, "Did you do this?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, God, that was horrible."
Yeah, no, he absolutely did.
So funny. I love that so much.
That was like my favorite thing when I saw somebody post that. I was like, "Oh my God, I had that in high school." Well, not high school, it was elementary school.
Right. All right. Let's get back on track. We have any other questions that we need to answer for other people or anything?
I haven't read. Sorry.
Puzzle wise, I didn't see any, but I think my phone is lagging. Someone wanted us to talk about wordplay.
Did John Palancar work at the same time and place as Robert Crumb? Didn't Robert Crumb work in San Francisco? Am I the only one that knows who Robert Crumb is?
No idea who that is.
Keep on Mr. Natural and no. Okay.
Got me.
I don't know. maybe. I thought he was in San Francisco.
So somebody wanted us to talk about wordplay. Like anagrams, acrostics, like the one that they sent us was something like not far away, and they were wanting to know if instead of it being away there's just a road that's called like Lincoln Way, like what we think about those things.
Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, there could be. It might be one of those things like Boston, where I mean, you can make up anything and make it work to your forcing something to into your solve from the puzzle. But it could be like Boston, where I'm sorry, you could have made anything out of the letters he had, and it could be the same thing, and it could be is after the puzzle is solved, it would be just point out, but look, it was here, but it could be just things that it just could be a game too. That look at all the things that you could have found. But the puzzle wasn't. The puzzle wasn't even intended for that. There was no newsletter to let people know if you're. What if that thing was famous, and like Masquerade, there was never a newsletter that he periodically put out. It just didn't sell enough books and stuff. And Woody, and did he have a tent? We have no idea. But you wouldn't know these things,
right? I don't think it's a matter of like a calculus problem. You know, I mean, there might be things in it, but I don't think everything about a certain image and verse is like all based in math. I don't think that's true.
Paula asked in the comments about John saying take one part of one word and put it together with another part of another word. Like, yeah, wordplay, it's the easiest thing to do in a puzzle, but it's got to make sense, you know?
right?
Like the anagrams that people pull out for The Secret, I'm sorry, they just don't make sense, and they sound silly, and like nobody.
It's so much. I mean, and I mean, I applaud a person for taking that much time, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yep.
I mean, I don't.
Somebody asked if John ever confirmed the Italian Fenway. I don't think he could. It's a verse thing, not a painting. He really doesn't know that much about these verses. I don't think he could. Never asked though.
Yeah, I'm sorry for whoever. I don't remember who asked me about the wordplay. I'm sorry if we're not answering that completely. I do know that I had a conversation with John Michaels when he was alive about he had posted something about about verse 10, and it was why the word nearby had its own line, and there was a big discussion about that, and he's like, why is that on a line by itself? And someone, it could have been me, I don't remember, said because he needed the letter N. And I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it could be, or it could be that maybe there was a sign somewhere that actually had the word nearby on the sign. And like, you know how sometimes it'll say things like attractions that are, you know, near that area.
It could be a monument or something.
And it's gone
because
it was, you know, 1980. But that was one of the few times I remember participating in a conversation like that was with JM.
I mean, you've got anagrams in other verses. It makes sense you're going to have anagrams in the unsolved verses. It just, like, you've got Saloy, you've got Italian Fenway, you've got several of them. So it makes sense that there are going to be others. And New York has the most forced spacing of words that I've ever seen in any poem ever.
Right. And it's got all those weird letters, and then all of a sudden in the middle of all the capitals it says can sit. Like when you put those together, it's just like why, then it's can sit. And then like a bunch of gibberish after that. But it's like, so is that actually a thing? I don't know. I have no idea.
None of us do.
Dave said,
anybody planning on going boots on the ground soon?
I go to St. Augustine a lot. I don't know if that counts.
Hey, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be out that way in a week.
Oh, cool. Stop by and say hi.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. That'll be fun.
Just come to the house.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in St. Augustine?
My brother lives in Gainesville, so.
Not far, yeah. Only like
cool.
45 minutes. Come to the house.
Okay. I'm going to New York soon. Don't know when, but I'm going. I mean, it's not a year if I'm not in New York digging for shit I'll never find, you know.
I got a couple of trips planned, but none for the secret.
What about you, Brody?
I'm going to I try and go to Boston, watch the Red Sox play. I'll probably take the train over to New York, maybe go check a spot there, and then George and I have been talking. So I'm in St. Augustine in May, mainly for like a concert, just kind of hang out. But I might check a spot out there, and then my wife and I have been talking about going to Charleston to visit, and I have a spot that I like out there too. So, and I've always got boots on the ground for everybody for NOLA. So, as a spot, hit me up. Let me know.
Cool.
Jim's not going anywhere.
I'm too busy. I can't go nowhere.
He's got crap he's got to fix all the time.
And I'm what am I? I'm about 3.5 hours from New York City. And I have family there too. So I mean, but
So far.
I'm not going unless I have like a direct dig spot and identifiers I do have those, but they're still ambiguous. They could be not that. And
Jim doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna come to St. Augustine soon. I gotta hire him. He's just gonna come and fix everything at my house.
We'll
I know,
fix everything you need, dude.
That's so funny.
But we can't tell my mother because my mother has a lot of stuff to get fixed. So no,
that's fine.
It has to be
she's over in Sebring.
Mom's the word.
I just left. I was just in Sebring.
Just tell her it's a job. I'll pay you. I've got several dollars, and you can have all 3 of them.
What do you mean? You're multi-millionaire from all the money you're making off.
Oh yeah, but I bought a Cadillac, so.
Wait, do you still have that dog? Is that dog still staying with you?
The one that just showed up on my porch.
Just showed up, yeah.
He went home. I did. We rescued a English bulldog.
No, I saw the bulldog.
Yeah.
So what do you call him? Like skinny Elvis?
No, he's Ryder Die. That's our dog.
Okay.
Ryder Die.
Cool.
That's
I gotta see him, man.
He's lazy, dude. I'll send you a picture. Getting him on cam, like they're lazy dogs. He's probably laying on the couch.
The perfect dog.
Oh,
My dogs are complete idiots. I have to go at 9. You guys can continue, but I got to go at 9. So what?
Yeah. Once Carlene leaves, it'll be much friendlier.
Yeah.
Because apparently I just argue with her.
Anyway, double guns on that. So what advice do you have for new people other than the alternate cities thing?
You're asking all
What
this?
advice for
Yeah, everybody just say like what you think is a good way to help new people that are like coming on board.
Don't make the puzzle fit your theory.
That's I like that.
Don't make the puzzle fit your theory. Like just don't do it.
Just be nice. You'll never believe how much, if you just come on and you're just nice to people and you just have a conversation where you're not a douchebag, you'll never believe how far you'll get in this puzzle. Like, people will want to talk to you. It'll be the craziest thing, and you'll have conversations with people, and they'll be kind conversations, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll get into all of these exclusive groups that you want to get into or whatever. Just be nice.
Well, and you'll be respected for
Hey,
acting.
wait, what exclusive groups? I'm not in any exclusive groups.
Oh god, I used to be in so many of those things.
I'm not in them because I'm a woman, but that's okay. Anyway.
Maybe you're just not nice, Carly. Maybe you should.
I'm just not nice to you. You're the only one I'm not nice to.
That's true.
I think if I was giving advice, I would say what Jim and I always do. Like, take yourself out of where you are and explore another place. And how many times have we done that? Like, so many. Like, I think we've like literally done all of Brooklyn, like all of it, and
all of Brooklyn, all of Manhattan, New Jersey.
I mean, like
Buffalo.
Yeah, we almost always end up back in the same place, but I'm out again, right? Like, it's been like what 5-6 years, and I pulled myself out again because that's how you know if you're still in the right place. Or as close to it as you can get, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
guess the only other thing I would say is like you have the power to scroll past something you disagree with. Just scroll past. You don't have to comment. And the other thing, this
Some
is
people
powerful.
can't.
If someone asks a question, and I saw this yesterday, answer the question. Don't put a reply that's what you think instead of whatever they're asking. No, answer the question. Or if you can't, don't reply. All right, sorry, I'm done now.
You have questions, but they're like questions for me.
Oh, but you're not a mod, so you can't answer them.
Yeah.
No, he's allowed to answer them.
Well, the first one was about the anniversary hunt, and it was, George, you mentioned that in a way you were glad the tribute wasn't found because it kept JM's memory alive. Do you feel the same way for the anniversary for Arthur? Not really. I mean, Arthur. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but I wish that thing would get found. Just because it would.
I think Arthur would want it found.
Arthur, we definitely wanted it found. Like, it wasn't. Some puzzles are meant to sit in the ground for like 40 years or whatever, and some are written to be super hard, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted it found within a year. And there was a specific way where it was written, and the specific way where it was made.
Be careful what you're saying.
I know how to say what I'm saying. Don't worry. There's a specific way that it was made that we thought would make it easier because, like, we have experience with how people work on The Secret, like how the general public works on The Secret.
Yeah.
So we were able to sort of factor in some stuff, and I think it just made it harder. Like, I feel like I really don't know how Arthur's painting works, and I wish I did, because it's tripping people up, and I don't know how to write them. Right, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's sending them down these weird paths, and I don't know how to put them on the correct path, because, like, I don't know what all of this stuff... Like, there's stuff in the painting where, like, I can see something, and I know what that thing is, but it has nothing to do with where this thing is buried, right? So I have no idea what Arthur's like idea or thought process for putting these things.
And that's why it's a puzzle.
Yeah,
it's why it's a puzzle.
So I just wish I knew how his painting works so I could help a little more, because it really, like, it wasn't meant to stay in the ground for very long, and I kind of hope it doesn't. It was more like a fun thing for the community to just take, and here's like an immediate prize kind of thing. Somebody else asked, Steve Margolis asked, are there any people in the group who have really solid theories but haven't shared them within the group for fear or ridicule? I'd say
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's fair or ridicule, with us.
Yeah, people, I don't think they want anybody to know.
Yeah.
Well, no, somebody, I mean, if you're going to post it without, if you're going to post something that's like almost creating your own secret, or a puzzle, with no details or anything, where, like, if they're posting it in a way that they think somebody that's really smart is going to see it and go, oh my God, that guy's really smart. He just figured something out. He didn't even tell you, and they're thinking that that somebody's going to see just by him posting a picture and circling something or a statement. That's when they get ridicule. And it happens many times. It happens many times in the past. We actually have a rule about it that we'd rather you just explain a little bit, so there could be a discussion. I'm sorry, we can't guess what people see, and most times it's bad to say. Most times it's wrong. We're all wrong all the time. Otherwise, this would have been done a long time ago. So, yeah. So that's it.
There's a question about a clock. The New York clock, is it some kind of Atlas clock? I don't know what that means. Is that like a brand? There
isn't. Well, I think
there's a Prospect. There's a Prospect Park clock, but that's,
Yeah, I mean, just
same either.
It's New York. We can say there's a million eagles.
Right.
I think I know every single clock in all 5 boroughs.
Doesn't everyone commonly accept that as Times Square? Like that's why
Well, it's the idea
he's looking for a
symbolically,
brand, right?
symbolically, and then
Right.
then you have to decide, is there a real clock too besides the symbology of being Times Square? And there are clocks that look like that, and there's
Right.
but again, it becomes ambiguous. Okay, the 6 is written this way, which
Right.
is weird, but there
Right.
are 6s on clocks, and you can
Right.
actually find them.
Right.
And
I think the texture is interesting.
yeah, I mean,
There's got to be a reason for it.
I hate to deep dive into New York, but my first idea when I looked at that clock, all I saw was the dots around it. There were dots around where the numbers were, more than just the 3, the 3, 6, 9, and 12, and I was stuck on the stupid bond bread clock, which is still there, but there's no numbers on it, but it has those dots on it. And then what you're saying with the texture is, and many people have talked about something like that, where, and it could be for all the puzzles, where when you see a texture like that, it might be the stone or whatever you're supposed to be looking at. It should be probably exact of whatever Polaroid he took or picture he took, Byron, that gave him to John, that, hey, guess what? This is you're supposed to know right there where you are. And so far, it hasn't been good. You were close, but these guys had a hard time actually finding them. All three. You were there, and you still had a hard time finding it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a really good question for the group. It has my name in it, but I'm just going to ignore my name and ask it to everyone. Have you changed your opinion on any searchers based on their theories? For example, if a person is close, will you put more validity in their secret theories? And if people are way off, will you discount their other theories? I find myself being biased, for example, by not taking alternative cities people as serious as other searchers.
All right, I can address that. When somebody has an alternate thing, even if it was, I've read something I could fight all day long and I totally disagree, I'm still going to read it, and I will look at it as of how I see the puzzle should work and how I see it myself, and it either works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, there is a little bias that people get because somebody's put something out there. Hey, you can go back 5 years and look at things that now I look back at it and I think, what the hell was I thinking? That was completely stupid. And yeah, you now 3, 5, 6 years later, people might look at it where, oh, he put that stupid thing out. I hope people don't do that to people. You should be able to constantly look at it, because don't forget, you kind of evolve into this. You think back to every mod administrator, people that we've talked to, when they first started working on this puzzle, there was like a little evolution of how they started learning about things, and not just what other people learned, their own research. I mean, the serious people that spent hours and hours and hours of research. But I guess it could be for everybody. But yeah, I hope people don't do that. You should always look at somebody's theory, no matter what. Just don't. If you see their name, you just don't click it off. I hope they don't do that. I read every single one.
I've had, when I first started, everyone thought I was crazy because I was seeing things. But Matt Sparks, I miss you. He and I had a really long discussion about an alternate city one time, and I was able to back it up. So he entertained the idea and we had a really good conversation about it. I learned later that wasn't the case, but it was a good conversation, and it was so great of him to take the time and entertain it. I mean, I would like to think that any of us, or any member would take the time to do that and just listen.
Yeah, I hope everybody does that and just listens. You don't have to comment. You can just, but just
And you don't
listen.
have to agree.
Because there is like a little, the way we grow into it. And it doesn't make us any smarter, but it just makes us a little more conscientious of
Makes you a good
things
team
going on.
player. You got to be a good team player. Sorry, my dog. All right,
Sorry for
I gotta
that.
go.
Okay.
I love everybody.
Thank
Have
you
a good
for-
time.
Thank you for doing this,
All the
Carlos.
people that are listening, believe nothing these idiots tell you about me. Peace out.
I love you.
Love you.
Did
Bye.
Carly just peace out on us?
I just pieced out on you. I'm showing my age.
So let me answer that question. I read every theory that's sent to me. Oh God, sometimes I don't want to, but I do.
Oh, I know.
I feel like if you respect me enough to write out this long ass thing, I'm gonna respect you enough to read it. But
Yep.
generally, what gets me is not where somebody ends up. Right? It's If I pull up an email, I can tell really, really quickly how much actual thought and creativity you've put into this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's what turns me off immediately, when it's people who are like, I've solved everything, there's a master anagram. And I know there's anagram guy, we're not talking about Alan right
Yeah,
now,
we're not
because
talking
Alan would
about
never do this. But there was another one. Oh my God, there's a master anagram and I figured it all out and I know all of this puzzle and all of the anagrams resolve to some fucking gibberish that doesn't make any goddamn sense, right?
Yep.
When I see that, I'm just like, I don't even want to talk to you, because you're going to just spend the next, 30 hours bombarding me with these random anagrams and trying to convince me you're correct. Like, that's what I look for immediately. Have you put any thought into this? Is it creative thought? Is it leading anywhere? Or is it just you trying to shoehorn your own stuff in? And like I said, I'll still read it, but how much effort I put into the conversation back, you know what I'm saying?
Right, but also now, and this has had to happen to you too.
That's Eric.
Three or four,
Sarah left a comment.
hey,
I'm sorry.
3 or 4 years later, that same person has got some good ideas, and they changed how they look at the puzzle, and they've changed. They
Sometimes.
I'm like, wow. Yeah,
Sometimes.
I've seen it a lot. If they're working on the puzzle consistently for years, and they're and participating and emailing and have their own people,
Yeah.
I've seen it quite a bit where they have gotten very good.
A really good
I
example.
still might disagree with it, but it's way better than where they were 3 or 4 years ago.
A really good example, and I don't think she'll mind me putting her on blast because it's a nice comment. Is Ashley Kohler? Like,
Yeah,
when she first started, it was kind of insane. But I think it's going back to what we were talking about before. She's learned throughout all of these puzzles. There's common themes, there's common elements, there's things that sort of pull everything together, and it's changed the way she's thought. And even when she was putting out the stuff which I consider to be incorrect, back in the day, she was still like super helpful and kind to people,
Yeah.
And so, like, but that evolution is there, but it's only there for like 15% of the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the people who come in with these wild, crazy ideas, they're fly by night. They saw a TV show and they were like, I can solve this, and they send you their email, and then they're gone the next day. They don't stick around.
Hey, and I was one. I zoomed in. I thought I had it solved in a week. I was over in Weehawken. I was over in New Jersey. I was over in I was down in I was down in Staten Island, crossed a bridge, then I was in Prospect Park, and then I came back. I mean, I this was only in a couple weeks. And then and that was before I even read anything on Quest, Q for T, and even before, I don't even think I read Wikipedia. I was just joined one of the pages, and shit, like a year later, I'm like, oh, I had to rethink everything. Like, what the hell were you thinking? You're going to be that arrogant, and you think you're that smart that you're going to figure out something that quick? I'm like, no, there's more to this, and a lot of people do it, and I'm a perfect example. I did it.
We all grow as like hunters in this, and I think like one of the big things for me personally was like being able to accept that my theory was either stupid or wrong. And so like you can ask George, I mean, I was willing to sell the farm on like Storyland for Dola. I mean, like I thought for sure it was in there. And then whenever, everybody said, oh, the flowers, they're the exact same flowers. And yeah, they're very similar, but those flowers were not there at the time that this puzzle was made. And so for me to step back and accept that and say, well, like I just kept away all this time thinking that Storyland, and then being able to learn from that and move on and find new aspects of this puzzle, that's what makes you grow. And Ashley, she's always been really nice, and she's an integral part of our group. So like, I don't always agree with what she says, but I love whenever she posts something because it's an opportunity for me to see something from somebody's eyes, and so she sees some stuff.
I still like
absolutely.
Storyland. I still really like Storyland. Let's see, more comments. There's one that asked about the anniversary hunt. I don't know that I can answer it. Somebody asked how they can send me their theory. You can email it to me if you want to. I don't know how much help.
And they can send it to any of the mods or administrators on any of the pages. That's why we're here now. Yeah. And they can send it to you.
Rob asked a question I want to answer. He asked if I was still planning on the project that I teased last year, 12 Cities, 12 Theories. Yeah, I am. And I'm like working on the first one. So it's never been a secret that the first one was going to be about John. And it's just John Michaels, not John Palancar. And there's so much shit that I didn't plan on. Like I've interviewed bands, and I've got stuff set up with his family, and it's a lot of stuff, and it's taking a hell of a lot more time than I thought it would, and it's way more work than I thought it would be. So am I doing it? Yeah. Is it gonna be 12 in a year? No. It might be 2 or 3, but it'll get done. So yeah. I'm just looking at comments now.
I mean, you can deserve the break anyways, George.
It's nice. It's fun.
Oh, I bet it is.
I'm having a lot of fun.
You don't wake up in the middle of the night with notifications and...
Yeah. Turn all that off.
Well, at least with that.
Alice Hall really wants me to tell her if Arthur had my verse before he painted the painting for the anniversary hunt. I don't know if I should answer that.
I don't think you should. Not part of the puzzle.
All right. I don't think knowing the answer would help in any way.
Good answer. Good answer.
And people have been asking what it would take to get me to come back and do more of these. Eric Sir made a comment, and I've been on that dude for like 5 years to let me interview him. And if he will let me interview him, I will come back. So everybody go bug Eric Sir. I just want to talk to the dude. He's so much fun to talk to.
From Quest for Treasure?
Yeah. Eric Sir's always been great, man. Like he's got some wild ideas, and I love how his brain works. But he's just always been kind, no matter what. And he's put up with some shit. So yeah, he's always been a kind dude.
We all have.
Yeah, well,
we've all put up with some shit.
Not all of them. I thought you were going to be like, we're all kind.
No. I mean, we've all taken some shit. Yeah, and but I mean, people don't realize too, George, how much actual work behind the scenes actually has to happen to do this stuff, and also these choices that we've gotten busted on over the years. These aren't taken lightly. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction and say, oh yeah, you're out of here. These are discussed and talked about. It's a group now with the mods and administrators where we talk about it.
I think it's been the mod group has been around for a long time. It used to be a little smaller than I think it is now. But like I know I took a lot of shit because I was always the one who was like,
You're the poster child.
well, I think when I was around, my main rule for the mods was no matter what you do, if you have to do it and it's negative, just blame me because I don't care. I can
Right.
take the heat, And because I knew that every decision that was made by a mod was agreed upon by everybody. Like, and in the mod
Right.
group, like, it's crazy because it's not, and it's always, it's been this way for years. It's not just mods of the main page. It's mods of other pages as well. People who have no say in what goes on in the main group have a
Correct.
say in how things are modded. Just to make, because we never wanted like fallout from this group to affect this other group. So we would invite in mods from the other groups and we would say, here's what we're planning. Is this going to screw you guys up? They would have to agree to it too. Like it's always been really, really team driven. I just took the heat because that was the rule. I didn't care. I'd rather like I take the heat than Jim.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, there is a lot more. Like when someone gets banned, that's a pretty big deal in the mod group.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. But
I can only think of like 2 or 3 times that someone's been banned without a vote. Maybe 2. I can think of 2.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and we have the history. We can watch it in our activity list and actually see. We can actually see what people have done as mods and administrators per page. And yes, there are very few times. And every single one of them I would absolutely agree with all day long, when those decisions were made, if I wasn't a part of it. I looked at it and like, absolutely. I had no problem with that. But I just hate to do it. I just hate to do it because I'm not going to say it incites violence, but people get pissed off. And it carries on into other pages and it continues a drama that that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other pages that have nothing to do with 12 treasures and stuff.
Yeah, but it's a big deal. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But when we have an issue with especially if we see a dangerous situation or something off, I have no problems contacting the administrators and mods of other pages that have nothing to do with us anymore, just to warn. And likewise, they also will talk back. Now, we don't agree on everything else, but as a courtesy, we've done that for a few years now, and it's actually nice, because even though we had some separations, we're actually still a secret community. We're still concentrating on the on the puzzle. So it's actually nice after all these years.
Gentlemen, it's been a.
Are you leaving too?
I got.
You're out, Brody?
Yeah, always a pleasure, guys.
All right,
Brody, we'll do it again.
have a good night.
Oh yeah. See y'all later.
It's like 9:14. Jim, are you leaving too? Am I just gonna sit around and answer questions that people send in?
You know what? I'll, if you feel like staying up, just give me a minute. I'll grab a beer and
Yeah, man,
I'll
it's
come
up
right
to
back.
you.
Yeah, I'm cool.
I signed on until 10, so I'm good until 10.
How many times do you actually get me on this thing?
That's true.
So,
I'll
grab
just
a beer.
answer these weird questions for me while you're gone. Mr. Underhill has continuously asked about John Fraser from the Fountain of Youth. Sorry, I didn't answer that because it's been in YouTube comments too. As far as I know, nobody's dug there in forever. A long time. Like before. Last time I remember a dig was COVID shutdown. I don't know if any's happened since then, but that's the last time. And I don't even know what people getting responses from him. I think he's over it. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I know for a while he was planning like this grand thing where you come in and you pay a couple $100 and you get like a tour and then you can dig a hole, and he was throwing around a lot of ideas that I don't think he was actually going to do, but I think the problems during COVID kind of screwed the Fountain of Youth up for everybody. So yeah, like I said, I haven't heard of a dig. So yeah.
How many bad things were said about Jimmy while I was gone?
Jimmy? Oh,
me.
You?
Sorry,
just,
Jim.
Just
yeah.
like, I mean, people were wanting to know what bar they could find you at so that they could get. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about, Jim? You got a long time. Like everybody, this was a big deal for Carlene, and then she just bailed. And then Brody's like, "I'll be here for 10 minutes."
Right, but Gabs was supposed to be here. She
Yeah.
couldn't come. Cole was supposed to be here. Couldn't come.
He couldn't
come. And it was all last minute. And we were actually all supposed to do this not last weekend, the weekend before. And I couldn't do it. It just, it's that time of year. We're just after Christmas and everybody's running ragged, trying to figure out where the hell we are. And even and now I had a quick emergency on a job. I had to go do some plumbing. And Carlene's like, "Are you going to show up? Can you do it?" I'm like, "I'm not sure. I got a freaking office building with no toilets, and it has to be running by tomorrow morning." But it turned out it was pretty simple, and here I am. But you never know. It's life, and that's another thing too. You have to watch puzzle in life, and don't let that consume too much of your life, basically.
Yeah, it's been, like I didn't realize how much it consumed mine until I stopped.
It definitely has consumed mine. I thought I had you find that happy balance of, I mean, the first year I did this was bad. It just took too much time out of my life, of what I was doing. But that's also the people that can solve these things. If you're that dedicated and keep going, those are the guys that are going to figure this stuff out,
Somebody asked, where's that question? What would we have to do to get you? I'm assuming she means you, Jim. You, Brett, Matt, Chris, and Bradley to do a special stream. I don't want to speak for Bradley, but I doubt very seriously he would do that. I know with Brett and Matt, at this point, you'd probably have to like eradicate cancer because neither one of them want to have anything to do with this anymore. Like the stuff that happened, I think affected Brett more than it affected me. And Brett's just like, screw this.
Yeah, and it affected all of us. And we spent, forget about, what you went through. That reverberated through all of the puzzles and stuff. Like, oh my God, this actually could happen to any of us. And our privacy and stuff. It's supposed to be a fun thing, and it becomes almost a dangerous thing, where we shouldn't be actually doing it. And it's their decision. It's all our decision to stop at any time we want. Some of us don't know how to, but it was probably it'd be a tough sell for Bradley, Brett, and Matt.
Me and Brett are doing some stuff. Me and Brett have we're still recording podcasts because they're fun, but they're not really centered around the secret. We've got one with coming up next week, I think, with a friend of ours who, I won't tell you what it's about. It's a lot of fun, and they solved like a mystery from the 1500s. It was pretty crazy.
And that's what this is all. And that's what this is all supposed to be about. It's about having fun, and sometimes it becomes a job, and all of a sudden, let's
see if we have any more questions.
I'm still sticking around for a while.
Okay, there was something about.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Of quitting the entire secret.
Not yet.
Not yet. It could happen. You never know.
Graydon wants to know where he can find that. I'm assuming he means the podcast. That'll be posted on the podcast feed. Somebody wanted advice for New Orleans park system for permission. New Orleans is pretty easy. Just ask generally, and they'll say yeah. And even if they don't, they don't have any police right now. And since I'm not a mod, I can say that.
You can say that. I, as a mod, have to say you're not illegally dig, please. Please get permission. But if you're nice,
in New Orleans, people generally don't get turned down. They just gotta find somebody low level. Like if you're going to talk to the mayor or something, the mayor of New Orleans got enough shit to deal with. She doesn't care. But yeah, it's just if you find a cask, what do? I'd say first is probably pick it up, hang on to it for a little while.
Pretty much, if you found a cask, you took a picture of it and you put it anywhere on any of the pages. There's plenty of people that will find you or authenticate that you actually did find it. It's pretty easy. It'll happen quick. And that's over multiple pages. So even the other pages, they have people that can authenticate it and connect you pretty quickly. So I think people worry about that.
Rob said the Beatles broke up and then he blamed Cole for being Yoko. That's funny. Screw you, Cole. Go yell at James Brown. That's a reference nobody's gonna.
So what?
George, would you reach out to someone who finds a cask like you did with Crew Pat? I don't know. Do they want me to? Is that something that people still want? Do people want me to talk to people? I don't know. I don't understand that question.
I don't understand either.
Them? I guess. I'll be like, congratulations.
George, if somebody sent you a picture of a real cask, it'll take you one email to find out if it's real and connect to the people.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's phone call worthy, not email, but yeah. I would make a phone call or two.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. They can put it anywhere and somebody's going to reach out to them. Put it anywhere. Somebody's going to reach out to you.
Yeah. What's the most interesting thing you've learned from people's theories regarding the anniversary hunt? The most interesting thing that I have learned, and I think it's the most interesting thing that John learned with the tribute hunt, was that even if you spend countless hours explaining to people in detail exactly how you think puzzles work, those people are still going to work on puzzles their way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually, and a perfect example is what Sunday did. That's exactly what every single one of us did. We, did it our way.
I mean, they're pulling out anagrams now in the anniversary hunt. Maybe I can't say that maybe there aren't maybe there are anagrams in them, but it's probably not like the ones you guys are finding.
I haven't been on that page in a while, so I don't know what the guys have been doing.
It's a lot of fun, man. Sunday is a great mod. Like she just deals with that page, and everything there's no arguments, there's no crap. There's really only been one instance of drama, and it was shut down really quick. Before anybody even knew it was happening,
right.
It was shut down. Sunday, Sunday is doing the Lord's work, to say the least. Over there.
Yeah, good.
And they do live streams, they do all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of fun.
It's good. It's cool.
I would recommend everybody check it out. Just if not for even if you don't care about the treasure hunt, just check it out for the people, because the people are pretty awesome.
Yep. And they're all people we know too,
Yeah. But I think it's different when you take people who would commonly get in arguments over the secret because they have their own background of information or whatever. They have their own ideas, and you throw them together in this brand new puzzle where nobody has any idea what's going on, and they work together and they communicate in a way that they don't on the secret pages. Like, there's no real arguing because
Right. Well,
nobody knows
same,
what the hell's going on.
right. And the same thing happened when JM, and Kit did the tribute, at least in the beginning. They're familiar names, familiar people, and hey, they're in a brand new territory with really, you don't know what the ultimate rules are of how it's going to work. They're going to try to, it's still a tribute and an anniversary, but you don't actually know. And there was a lot of good stuff on the tribute stuff, and people that were argumentative in the past. I haven't been on that one. I haven't been on that one in a while either. I don't think I'm not a mod. I might be a mod on that. I don't even know. I haven't checked in a while.
Chris's, but like,
Yeah.
I haven't been in the tribute. I haven't looked at the tribute page in forever. But that was a lot of fun. I think John, he did a good job, but he also enjoyed it. Like it for a long time, John wasn't happy, and you could tell he wasn't happy. He was really like argumentative and like in comments, like when he would talk to people, he was really argumentative and kind of short. You could tell he just wasn't in a good place. And then I think the tribute gave him something to be happy about, and it made the last year or so of his life a really pleasant
purpose.
one. Yeah,
purpose. Gave him purpose. Purpose for this.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Same with Arthur. Like Arthur, I had a couple of conversations with Arthur after it was released. Probably not as many as I wish I had, but we talked about a couple of things, and he really liked it. Because like the anniversary hunt was released right when I left, so I just kind of dipped out, and I didn't come back in until after he passed. And we had a couple of conversations, and he really liked the sort of the way people were embracing it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It just stinks.
Yeah.
What happened, but it's it also is life, and that's the other thing too. We spend, we're interacting with so many people. You don't realize when you think back of how many people now have gotten sick, passed away, and it's only really because of the secret that you would even know about these things.
Yeah.
And then my friend Petra, she's the one that transcribed the funeral from the Netherlands. She's going to be actually at my house from the Netherlands in I think next month, and she's a stranger. She had nothing. She didn't even know I did this stuff, and I asked her, and she immediately started working on that, and absolutely fell in love with Arthur. Just from the Netherlands, the stuff that he did was just over the top incredible. Nothing there was like so many things we never knew. Even the people that talked to him all the time, we never knew about it.
Yeah.
And she transcribed it, and she's like, Jim, I can't believe that. She goes, I cried transcribing that thing, and it's so nice, and I'm so happy for Petra for doing that for me, for asking. And she's like, how couldn't I? And that's it. I'm not going to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, like I guess I didn't really like. I realized that I'm getting old now. That all of my friends are like dying. Like I was supposed we had a funeral Saturday for a friend that passed away, and like I watched Facebook, and there are two people. There was two people in a week found out they had cancer. Like one of them was a hunter, and then the other one was like me and JM back in the day, before the podcast got really big. We're working on a TV show with the producer, and like the producer just found out she had cancer, and it was like, holy shit, she's my age,
Right.
Or younger even, maybe. Like, Jesus. Screw
again,
cancer, guys. Just screw cancer.
I know. Yeah, I know. Screw cancer is right. But it happens, and as we get older, you see it more, recognize it more.
Yeah.
But I'm no spring chicken either. I'm 53. I'm going to be 53.
You're like 32. It's okay.
No, 53.
Yeah, but you breathe that New York air, and that like insulates you. It gets you used to just all of the crap in the world, and then you live longer. It's like
I
Keith
don't
Richards.
know.
Keith Richards does all the
I know.
drugs, and that keeps him alive.
Yep.
You guys just breathe New York smog.
Yeah, I know, but I'm upstate New York, so
Yeah, but still,
pretty clean.
it wafts.
But I do have to say, when I go down to Florida, the hot, humid weather, I came back breathing pretty. I mean, I'm a smoker. I smoke cigarettes, and I gotta tell you, I felt pretty good when I come back from Florida, just breathing that hot, humid air, or whatever difference it is.
In Florida, no, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Sorry. I was gonna make a controversial political comment, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, we don't do politics on modcast.
Do we not do podcasts or on the modcast?
Oh, actually, no, you're not a mod. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Anyway. There's just weird political shit going on in Florida right now.
Yeah. And
so there have to be more questions, or we're gonna have to go because we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about. So ask things.
me, I got nothing. Well, nothing without controversy.
I don't know what's been going on in the secret. I've been gone. So I was told for years and years and years and years that I was the one thing holding everyone back from finding a cask, and I've been gone for like 4 months. How many have been found, Jim?
Nobody.
Nobody. Does anybody have any good ideas? Like, is there anything interesting pop up?
There's still interesting ideas. What's funny is that there's ideas. People can't read, even though you have the little magnifying glass. You can't read everything on every single page anymore. When I first started, I read the entire Quest for Treasure. After the first maybe month of working on it, then I read it. You can't swallow all that material. Like, you don't know what they're talking about. You have to actually read it again. And even if you're starting and reading stuff on using the magnifying glasses, you can't swallow what somebody's talking about. What I see that's funny is that people just rehash the same ideas as if they're brand new. And I believe them. It's a brand new idea to them, and it's been talked before, and I'll do it too. We've talked about that before. Use your search bar, and you can see where people, and it isn't being condescending. It means just to see maybe these guys figured out something beyond or collaborates what you're talking about. And yeah, I don't see anything major.
That sucks.
Breaking. But that's been going on for years. And it's okay. It's okay. Hey, before Boston, there was nothing groundbreaking going on either. It just continues. But it's better than the alternative and not working on it, I guess.
Andrew Cullen would like to know if we're going to say we, have any dragon costume related bets planned for the Super Bowl this year.
Oh. I don't have a dragon costume. I do have an alligator costume.
You have an alligator costume?
Yeah. I was Crocodile Dundee. My wife was an alligator for Halloween. Yeah. But
I don't have any. Let's make one with Andrew. Let's make a bet with Andrew. Like, so if we don't know the teams yet. Who are the teams that are playing? No, nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, so I'll say this. I'll let Andrew pick a team. And if Andrew's team loses, he has to come on a live stream and do what I bet Rachel. He has to give a book report on The Secret. But, like, a real 12th grade high school book report. It's got to be double spaced. He needs to include references. He's got to do the book report. And if his team wins, I'll do something. He just comes up with something and let me know what it is.
I'll wear the alligator. I'll wear the alligator. costume.
Nice. Yeah, that's our bet. He's a Browns fan. I'm sorry.
What was it? Yeah. Hey, don't be sorry. I'm a Jets fan. So.
Let's see.
Yeah, I forget what was the bet. What was your original bet? The last one you guys did with you and Rachel.
It was the. Oh God, what teams was it? It was the Bengals and Eagles, maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember now.
Or the Broncos, maybe. I don't remember. If I won, Rachel was going to give a book report on The Secret, which was funny because she hates The Secret. But I was going to make her read the whole book and do a book report. And then if she won, I had to wear a dragon costume, so I did a dragon live stream.
Awesome.
Can you explain the Facebook pages and what is connected to what?
Well, we have 12 cities connected to the podcast, and then we have a main page that's all the puzzles, and we have moderators and administrators that work on all of them. That's what he means. I don't know.
I mean, the way I always explain it is, in the beginning there was one Facebook group, and it was the Secret of Treasure Hunt Byron Price, and it was started by a guy whose name I can't remember, and it focused on Houston, and mainly because everybody that was involved there focused on Houston. And then when Expedition Unknown came out, all these people flooded the group, and they started talking about other cities. So all of the Houston people got together, and we all decided to make offshoot pages. So
then eventually, but some of those pages weren't actually yours, but they got assimilated into it.
A couple. There was
I think there was one or two of that were assimilated.
There was a New Orleans page which hadn't been active for years because the guy was just like, he didn't care. And because it was inactive, we created a New Orleans page, but then the dude kept getting so many requests that like 2 or 3 years later he opened that page back up, so now there's 2 New Orleans pages. But the New Orleans page guys are super nice. Like, I tend to prefer conversation on those pages more than I do
I don't know if I'm on that. No, I'm on that one.
We made a New York page, and then some chick was like, I want to run the New York page, and we were like, no, so she made her own. Yeah,
I was on there for that one.
Kind of fuck it. Well, dude made a second St. Augustine page, and then he, like, during the presidential elections for Trump, he went a little batshit insane and tried to like kick everybody off Facebook, and then eventually left, and another guy took over that. That's what the Secrets, All Puzzles, Byron Price, whatever the fuck page.
There's a lot of them. And it's okay. You can make your own pages.
Yeah, but you just
it gets confusing though.
It does get confusing, and I think new members have to realize that most of these pages were started by people who, for whatever reason, were kicked off the main page. Right? They get kicked off the main page, so they start their own. So you've got one page with, I don't even know how many members you guys have now, probably pushing 13,000, and then you've got a bunch of other pages with like 200 people who are all just dicks to each other.
Right.
At least in my opinion, as a non-mod.
As a non-mod.
Yeah, and they're all like, they all want to trick you. They all are like, look exactly the same as the main page. They're all named the same. They all have the same description. But it's that 13,000 people is the difference.
But George, it's okay if they go there. It doesn't matter. And eventually, I mean, so many people. If somebody with a great idea that happens over there, somebody's going to put it back on, and we're going to know. Like, if it was life-changing for The Secret, we're all going to know. It just like if somebody found a cask.
Yeah.
It would be life-changing. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter about all the pages. We're all still interconnected.
It's 100% fine. Yeah. But I think it's important for people to know the history of where they came from, like the pages came from, because each of those offshoot pages have their own tone, right? They're all created by and controlled by a single person who sets the tone for those pages, and because they're all like exact copies of the podcast pages, like the bullshit that happens over there is always assumed to be associated with the podcast pages for some reason. So it's important that people know, like, no, what that kind of stuff doesn't fly, you know.
And it's been pretty quiet that way for a while.
Yeah. Well, because like I left.
even before you left, it's been pretty quiet, except for our things that has happened.
Well, I mean, I really like what we were talking about before, where we made everything my problem. Like every time somebody got banned or every time there was a problem, it was George's fault, and that was a rule. That was my rule that I came up with that everyone followed. I really think it was because of that. Because everybody that gets kicked out, or everybody that gets disciplined for some reason, automatically goes, George is the asshole, you know. Where in reality, when I was the only one manning the group, there was a no ban policy. Like I have a very like libertarian view on running pages. Like everything goes, and if you don't like it, you block the person. You know. So because all of that heat was on me, as soon as I left, people were like, "Well, we don't have an enemy anymore." So
oh no, I get plenty of emails and notices and stuff.
All right.
But yes, we lost our poster child, Punch Judy.
Yeah, you guys got to get another one of those.
It's going to be Cole.
It's going to be Cole. Yeah, he's the Yoko now.
Yeah, he's the Yoko. Punch Judy. Punch him. Sorry, Cole. Love you, buddy.
Well, Mark wants to know if I will ever resume doing Secret Focus podcasts and Sunday Fun Days. I don't know. Like, in some ways I miss doing this. In some ways I just miss coming and talking to people. But in other ways, it's just too much. There's too much bullshit that comes along.
Right.
You know? Like, I always say, if somebody wants to talk to me about something, just let me know and I'll come back and do one of these. But otherwise, like, there's so much crap that comes along with it.
I know, and it's a pain in the ass. It takes a lot of time and out of your day, and for all of us.
It's not really that much. It's just the fallout that comes afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean, me and you, we can shoot the shit till tomorrow morning, you know, and have no problem, you know. But it also has to be a little structured and actually secret related, just not us shooting the shit and pounding beers.
There's too much like ego and shit in it now. There's too many people fighting for 500 people to listen to them. Does that make sense? I don't know. That seems where the problems for me come in. It's just too many people.
Right, but that's been happening for years, and usually it's only a couple dozen people and a couple hundred people paying attention, even though there's 15,000 or whatever it is. That's always was. It's a strange curve that happens with how this community works. Now, ultimately, we know. Ultimately, you there's people that you're going to find that you're absolutely comfortable with.
Hey, I'm still here. Something happened to my camera. I'm fixing it. You can still hear me, I assume.
I am. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. My camera keeps screwing up. I don't know why.
Hey, at least you're using a computer. I'm using my phone. The only thing I use a computer for is bills for work. I do not go on a computer. I do everything off my phone. Everything.
Well, we're pushing 10, so unless there's something else you want to do.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. It's basically it was supposed to be for all the mods and stuff to be on here with you, and
then it was just you and
it didn't happen. Me and Carl. So it's okay. It is. Hey, you've done plenty of podcasts where you just sat around and did not talk about the secret and shot shit. So
that's true. Right. I love those. I'll do that anytime because that's what I thought this was. I thought like coming into this was mods coming in to talk about like their technique. The idea was just to introduce ourselves as people that don't know who any of us are.
we've been behind the scenes. They might see a name. I mean, I've done a couple podcasts, or not podcasts, videos, and they were out there. But nobody knows who I am. And that was the idea of just introducing who we are, and just let us know we've been around this whole time. Well, since close to when all these pages were made, basically.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. We got people, and that's another point where real life has to take over. You don't take off days from work to do a Sunday fun day. You know what I mean? You just don't.
Only I'm dumb enough to do that.
That's what you've been doing. And you can't. You really shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's about importance of stuff. So, but hey, I can shoot the shit all day, all night. But I still would like to talk about puzzle, and that's fun. But this is the first time I did. This is Zoom, right?
Yeah.
You did Zoom? Yeah, you did Zoom on this. Yeah, so I'm not used to that. So I didn't get I don't get any of the how to see the questions coming up and all that. Yeah. And I'm afraid to touch it because if I touch it, I disappear.
There's no way for you to see it, which is sad. I wish there
was. But Carlene did. Carlene could see him.
I think Carlene opened up another window because she can only see like Facebook comments and she couldn't see the YouTube comments and it's streaming to like 2 different places.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
But when you go back and read it, all the comments are on the screen, so people who are watching can see the comments, and they can see how many we ignore or how many I ignore. It's all my fault. Sometimes
it's not your fault. Like, we're the mod. The mods are supposed to be doing this, not you.
Yeah. We could do like
it's not your fault.
You want to do like a rapid fire of the last like 5 questions and then we'll just go?
Sure.
Rob Caragulio, who is another person I would love to get on one of these and just talk to. Would like to know about our pet peeves. What's your pet peeve with this puzzle, Jim?
My pet peeve. I don't know. No, that's not true. I do have a pet peeve. It's just how my pet peeve with this puzzle is not how everybody is in the puzzle. It's my real life people find out about the puzzle or I talk about it and hear it. That's my pet peeve. It just comes across crazy and it's never accepted well. That's my pet peeve with it.
My pet peeve is ego. It's 100% ego. If you were to walk into a job or walk into a company or like say you're not a doctor, but you walk into a hospital acting like you know everything about surgery, you would be laughed out of the building. But people feel like it's okay to do that in the treasure hunting community for some reason. They feel like it's okay to act like an expert when they have no idea what they're talking about because of their ego. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the internet because I've met like people who are very egotistical online. I've met them in person and they're very reserved. They're like, maybe I'm wrong or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We can name a couple people that you would think was the most monstrous person, and you meet them in person and they are not.
Well, it's because it's hard to get punched in the face on the internet. But if you're an asshole to somebody in real life, they will punch you in the face. So like that's my big deal is ego. That's my biggest pet peeve.
Okay.
Like come into it kind of humble. I mean, maybe that was a strong way to word it. Like you'll get punched in the face. But there's that.
Hey, people.
Threat.
Hey, but what do you say though? There was people that threatened to punch people in the face before.
Yeah, I've been threatened to be punched in the face.
You know,
I was threatened to be shot. It's like, come on, man. But I mean, like when you're face to face, being argumentative, like there's repercussions. Like you can see it in the person's face, you can tell it in the tone of their voice. You know what I'm saying? And there's just not that on the internet. The internet makes it way too easy to bark when you can't bite. Basically. Yep. Let's see. What were some of the other ones? I would answer Graydon's, but that would be long. George, what kind of camera do you use for this? This is a Sony A5600. It's overkill. Don't spend that much money on a camera. I was doing this every week, and that's why I did that.
Who was asking that?
Marge Lemaroo.
Marge, this is my Samsung Android contractor phone, scratched to hell, beat up, full covered in paint.
At the beginning
Pretty
of the
good camera.
At the beginning of the 40th anniversary year, I was like, God, if I'm gonna actually start filming things, and I'm gonna be doing these Sunday Fun Days every Sunday, I've got to get equipment. So I went out and bought like light boxes and shit and all.
Well, you'll
kinds of
find
stuff.
mics and
Yeah.
headphones and all kinds of stuff.
I still use this microphone. It's like a Yeti Blue that I bought at Goodwill.
Okay.
But I've got like professional, really good, expensive microphones. I just don't ever use them because they're a pain in the ass to set up. And this one I can just throw on a stand.
Mm-hmm.
And then these Sennheiser headphones. Like, I've got really good Bluetooth ones, but I don't ever use them because they're, I don't know. But then, like, I got all this good equipment, and then I just stopped. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's probably it. So, thank you, Jim, for coming on Carlene's modcast.
And thank you. And it's all good. We'll do it again, and we'll continue doing it, and try to do it without you next time.
Brody asked the question.
Try to do these without you. Oh.
Yeah, you guys should, man. Like, the Sunday Fun Days were really big for community building, and like, if you guys want to build a community,
and we'll work better with Cole too. Cole's new to it, just like us. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and we'll do better. And we'll take it from there.
Brody asked a question, and since he was a mod, we should leave on this. He said, "Sorry I had to leave, but I forgot to ask a question. George, during the Roanoke episode, you mentioned you heard a crazy theory that was awesome. Could you elaborate on that theory if you remember?" Yeah, I totally remember that theory. It was great, and the best part about it was... Sorry, I just stopped the stream.